Hey guys, how are you? Hey, great debates today on the Alien and Sedition Acts. Wonderful. Um, Unfortunately, we just did not have enough time to really debrief that, given our crazy schedule. So I thought I would give you my video commentary on both periods one and two debates today. So I got my AP cards here, so we know for sure that terms no XYZ affair, Alien and Sedition, and Kentucky and Virginia resolutions. Those are three things that I heard today during the debate. Obviously, this was the title of the debate, but these are really specifics in a grander scheme of event. So, again, the Alien and Sedition revolves around the Federalist power and the possible war with France. So to put it in context, as you guys know, during the 1790s, both British and French Navy was stopping our ships and impressing our sailors. To impress them, that means to take them off our ships and then put them into their navies, and obviously at gunpoint. Um, and President John Adams sought to ease tension between the U.S. and France, and he sends three agents or three diplomats to France to discuss to negotiate a settlement because they had some of our sailors hostage and they were capturing our ships, and we wanted to free our hostages, free our ships. So. When the U.S. diplomats arrived in France, they were met by three French officials that we never really know their names. They were just nicknamed by our Congress as Agents X, Y, and Z. And they told the U.S. diplomats that the only way that you're going to begin negotiating with the French Prime Minister is if you pay a bribe of $250,000 and loan us 12 million bucks, and we're never going to repay that loan. And that was honestly European custom in the 18th century. So it's extortion, and the United States was going to say absolutely not. We are not. This isn't Europe. This is the United States. So we refuse. And it just became known as the XYZ affair, and it really highlights the immense disrespect that European nations like England and France, and in this case France, had for the United States. Complete disrespect. And so American hostility towards France really inflamed. So now the political point to this is we have a Federalist president, John Adams, and a Democratic Republican Vice President Jefferson, and Jefferson was very pro-France. And Jefferson really was not in any kind of mood to join forces with John Adams. He basically calls John Adams, and I quote, a vain, irritable, stubborn little man. And Adams, so this is the vice president talking about the president. I don't know what is worse, to be called vain, irritable, stubborn, or little, but he threw all those together. And John Adams takes the high road and really does not get into a squabble with Thomas Jefferson. So he takes what we call the higher ground. But in 1798, the Congress passes, with Adams' support, the Alien and Sedition Acts. So this is, again, a legislation enacted by Federalists to reduce foreign influence and to reduce foreign influence and to, again, this is the real reasons why, that the Alien and Sedition Acts were passed to reduce foreign influence and really to suppress their critics. So ever since Jay's Treaty, the Federalists have started to lose standing. Since from 1795. So there's starting to be a push away from the Federalist Party towards this new Democratic Party. And so Jefferson and the rest of the Democrats were convinced that the real purpose of this whole French crisis with the United States was to provide Federalists with an excuse to silence their critics. And as students said today, the Alien and Sedition Acts was a series of acts aimed at security. So the Alien Act could deport any, or Alien Enemy Act could deport any immigrant in the United States that we are at war with. And the other Alien Act was, of course, any. Hold, my phone's ringing. Nope. Okay. And the other, Enemy Act is the if you are influenced by the does not have to deal with if we are actually at war with another nation. It is really any immigrant that could pose a threat. So I think Neil used the word today, xenophobic. So there's definitely some xenophobia to that, fear of immigrants, because at this time a large wave or beginning wave of immigrants were French and then the Irish, and those politically are going to align themselves with the Jefferson ideology and not the Federalist ideology, because obviously the Federalists under Hamilton wants to be pro England, and obviously the Irish have no love for the English, and obviously the French are French immigrants coming to the United States have a supporter in Jefferson. So the best way to silence those immigrants is the power to deport them if need be. And then the Naturalization Act basically takes their time to become a citizen from 5 years to 14. So again, this will keep them from voting. And obviously when these immigrants are going to vote, they're going to vote for the Democrat Republican. So again, Alien Act, they can deport any dangerous immigrant. Alien Enemies Act could export or imprison enemy aliens if, again, that we are at war with. And then the Naturalization Act takes a longer time for an immigrant to become a citizen. So those kind of seem to be sinister, but you can explain them in the lens of national security. The one that was hotly debated this morning, was the Sedition Act, which of course outlawed writing, publishing, or speaking any false, scandalous, or malicious news or comments about the government or any of its officers. So yes, the heart of the issue of the Sedition Act, on a bigger picture, is the interpretation of the First Amendment. And so it was brought up in class today that the whole idea of your First Amendment freedom of speech, we don't, I think this was period 3, we basically said that, so this is 1798. And so this court case reminded one student of the Peter Zenger trial, who was a newspaperman who was censored during the colonial time period. So the freedom of press was important. And then I want to say Kurthy might have said, just because something might suit the needs of the government, can they suppress constitutional rights? In this case, First Amendment. And I told them in 1919, the Supreme Court did actually come out with the fact that First Amendment rights, or in this case, First Amendment rights are relative. They're not absolute, meaning the context in which what you say or write or publish can be limited in relevant to what's going on during this time period. So the Sedition Act is very controversial, and it is unconstitutional. However, as I told DT, I believe today, that he said that they're unconstitutional, and he was saying that as a U.S. citizen. But we're not the ones that can deem something unconstitutional. Just because a law is passed, it has to be challenged by a citizen, in this case, Aditya. But the only way a law can be ruled unconstitutional if it goes in front of the Supreme Court. And I think it was L. Ruckham, period 1, said that didn't happen yet. It was not until 1801 when the Supreme Court finally takes a law passed by Congress and deems it unconstitutional. So the Alien and Sedition Acts were kind of ahead of its time. So in other words, the Supreme Court probably would have ruled these unconstitutional. So we are a few years off before that even happens under Marbury versus Madison. And then, of course, the heart of the issue is limitation to free speech. So this Alien and Sedition Acts definitely tests the strength of the First Amendment. Then these come up, the Kentucky and Virginia resolutions, and both groups today stated beautifully that these were responses to the Alien and Sedition Acts by Jefferson and Madison, and basically what they are saying that the states should have the power to nullify or disobey a federal law that they deem is unconstitutional. And so the word that you need to associate the Kentucky and Virginia resolves are nullification. Do states have the right to nullify a law they don't like? So nothing actually becomes of these because the Alien and Sedition Acts will be repealed by Congress. But short-term effect of the Alien and Sedition Acts, it really hurt the reputation of the Federalists further. So we have Jay's Treaty, Alien and Sedition Acts, which are, again, 1798. This kind of catapults Jefferson to win the election of 1800. So negativity around the Adams administration allows Jefferson to win the election of 1800. Tuesday's debate is going to be about the War of 1812, which the U.S. will win. And that president, who at that time was a Democratic Republican, so popularity for that party soared even higher. So Jay's Treaty, Alien and Sedition Acts, and the War of 1812 are three major events that ended the Federalists as a party, period. So after the War of 1812, there were no more Federalist Party. They were looked at as the party that does not like democracy. So that's an effect, all right? So they're going to get a reputation of being a less democratic group as opposed to the Democratic Republicans, all right? So that is the Alien and Sedition Acts in a nutshell. Long-term effect of the Kentucky and Virginia resolves, the idea of a state having the power to nullify a federal law is going to come up again as one of the precursors to the Civil War. So make sure you file the Kentucky and Virginia resolves away because they will come up again. Again, did not come into play during the Alien and Sedition Acts. They never were really enacted or voted on or passed, but they will be used again to justify some issues that will lead up to the Civil War. All right? But at the end of the day, the Alien and Sedition Acts ruined the Federalist Party, and Thomas Jefferson will win the election of 1800. And he kind of some of his policies will set the stage for the War of 1812. Hope this helped. See you later.